Hello, my friends. Okay, today we're going to talk about how to go about getting your book uploaded onto Amazon and actually pressing the publish button. Okay, this is a big deal. It's a huge moment, right? But let me tell you, you can start this process way before you are ready to publish. Maybe your draft isn't even done, but you just want to kind of get in, get familiar with the system, get some stuff set up, go do some research on things like keywords and categories, and we'll talk about all this, okay? So you can do this early. You can save it as a draft and come back in. And when you have your files and everything is ready to go, you can click the publish button, okay? Woohoo! And then you can pop the cork and have a party, all right? So there are a few steps you're going to go through when you're uploading your files or completing what they call your title in Amazon. So the step number one is you're going to create a new title. Now, this isn't like a new title for your current book. It's just saying you are creating like a profile for your book. And under your account, your Amazon account, you can have multiple titles listed. So they'll say, do a new title, create a new title for each book, right? So this is right from your Amazon account. If you don't have one, sign up with your email. Maybe you have your author email, who knows, Danielle Anderson author at Gmail, right? Or whatever. Create your Amazon account and it'll link you up to KDP. There should be a way for you to get from your standard Amazon account to KDP. And once you're on your KDP dashboard, you click create a new title and you select whether or not you want to choose an ebook or a paperback, and you can do both, but we'll walk through the steps for just an ebook, and essentially they're the same thing for a paperback. You do kind of one at a time, and you can publish them individually that way, but it's essentially the same thing, right? So we're going to walk through the steps as you would with an ebook, but there really aren't very many differences. You're going to want to use the same categories and keywords and description, but there will be some differences when it comes to previewing the file and getting your files approved and passing the test there, okay? So once you have selected the type of book that you want to publish, ebook for example, you're going to want to go through all of the book details and all of that next. So you type in your book's language, the title of your book, and you keep going. Next, you're going to enter the book description. Now, I'm going to actually cover this in more depth in a future video because your book description is essentially, think about when you flip over a book, that's essentially what it is, right? That's what you're telling your readers on Amazon what your book is about. If you followed along with some of my videos, you may be a couple steps ahead on this, okay? But there are some very smart things you can do here. There are some ways to optimize your description and make it engaging with the readers. But this is essentially what you're going to do to sell to your readers. This is your sales tool. So it's very important that you enter the text of a strong, solid book description. And there are some additional questions in this category under your profile, your book's profile, we'll call it. You want to let them know if this book is part of a series. You tell Amazon the recommended ages for your readers. This may or may not be very relevant for your book, but essentially they want to know, is this a children's book or, not? And then if you've worked with any contributors, like an illustrator or something, you're going to want to list them there. So that section, the main bulk of it is going to be the book description and formatting that and making it engaging and all of that. So we're going to cover that in my next video. Please come back for that. It's important. All right. The next section is your keywords and categories. And they're two different things. And actually selecting them and clicking on them in your book what am I calling this thing? Profile, right? Book profile, your book details. This is the easy part, but selecting the right keywords and categories is a little tricky. And again, I'm going to go into the details on that in a future video, because think about keywords and categories. If you type into Amazon search bar, like books about dogs, if your book isn't categorized in the dog category or animal or whatever category is attached to that keyword, your book will not come up in those in the search listing. Okay, so when your readers are looking for, or your potential readers, really is the difference here, when they're looking for a book that your book fits the description of, let's say you wrote a book about healing from divorce. If I type in books about healing from divorce and you do not have any of those keywords, even if your book is about that, I won't find it. I cannot find it if it's not tagged appropriately. So we are going to talk about how to decide what keywords, what categories are the best fit. It takes a little bit of thinking. It takes a little bit of analysis and strategy. Okay, this is not just a couple clicks you should do, but we will talk more about this in a future video, so come back for that. See how I'm like just reeling you back in, right? So then you want to upload the file for your book. Amazon will tell you what file type it requires depending on your ebook or hard copy, and you're just going to follow along. You want to make sure you have the correct file type, extension type, like .doc or .pdf or EPUB or whatever. It will tell you what you need to upload. You literally are going to upload the file to your account, and then once you click the upload button and like find the file and click OK, you have to give it a second. It's going to go through the previewing and the check process. It's going to process the file. So just wait, hang on and wait. And if it's A-OK, you're going to get a little green checkbox that says, like, you know, thumbs up, dude, you did it. Like, your file is great. You can move on. It could take a couple minutes to do this, especially if you have 200, 300, 400 page book, right? A thick file, a big file. So don't stress, just wait. You're going to make sure that you upload the file. When it gives you the green light, you go ahead. Now, if it doesn't give you the green light, there's most likely an issue with the file type, or it's just totally, there's some formatting thing that's off. It should tell you what the problem is, and then you can fix it and upload your file. Once you get the green light, assuming, you know, you fixed it or you're through on the first pass, then you're going to do the same thing for your cover file. Now, if you've worked with a designer, they should know exactly what kind of file to give you. There's going to be a JPEG or a TIFF or something that Amazon is going to require. Again, it'll tell you what the parameters of the file requirements are. Your designer should have given you the appropriate file for your ebook or for your hard copy. And if you're doing both, you're going to have one for each, okay? So make sure you select the right one. Same with your book file. You want to select the right one. If you're uploading for an ebook, you want to select the ebook file. And then again, you're going to upload your cover file. You're going to click OK, and it's going to process. And it's going to make sure that all the parameters meet their requirements. And you're going to get another notification saying, like, bingo, way to go, you did it. If you don't get the thumbs up, again, you repeat the process. The ebook is a little trickier to fix, or the cover file is a little trickier to fix. If you've worked with a designer, you're going to have to go back to them and say, like, I'm getting an error here. I haven't had any clients have errors on their cover files, but presumably it does happen, and Amazon will give you a chance to fix it. Now, maybe after you go through each step, you click save and, you know, just save all of the information you're entering as you go. Maybe you enter, you know, what you know and come back when your files are ready. So you're going to skip this stuff, you know, however you most feel comfortable, but figure out the goal of this video is to kind of give you an idea of what you need to be prepared to enter when you go into the system and do that. So these files you may not enter right away, or upload right away, I should say, but you can get a lot of the work done even before your files are ready. So let's keep going. Step number 6, you're going to actually set a price for your book. Now, we talked about prices in another video, but it's typically recommended for an ebook, for example, that you stick within the price range to hit that 70% royalty range. Okay, so it's like $2.99 to $9.99, something like that for your ebook, and then you'll hit that 70% royalty hit. So they recommend you stick within that range. You can do whatever you want. You can have a $45 ebook if you want. I don't know if you're going to sell very much, but again, that's what they recommend, but you can select the price you want. Now, within the price section is an opportunity for you to set individually a price for each country so you can sell internationally. Now, if you just don't care about international sales, you can leave it on auto, but international sales can really boost your sales. And when you set individual prices, it can really help, because otherwise they can get a little wonky with exchange rates and stuff, and it kind of doesn't, it goes against you a little bit, I guess. It's going to be a little confusing for your potential international readers, okay? So don't discount this step. Go through the process of selecting the applicable price for your book in those countries. I've been told it's kind of worth the effort. I don't have data on that, but it doesn't sound like it could hurt, right? So once you've set all of the prices and you're ready to go on, the next section is going to ask you whether or not you want to enroll in a couple of Amazon's optional programs. And again, I know you keep hearing me say this, but we need to drill down into some of these even more. KDP Select is a program that we will spend more time on because I want you to understand what it is. But essentially, it's a program that KDP offers the authors, the self-publishing authors, to help them enroll in things like Kindle Unlimited and run book promotions and all of that. So we're going to go over the details. There's benefits to you, but there's also some cons you need to consider, okay? So you can opt in or not. It's optional. The next program is Kindle Book Lending. And this is kind of cool. It's basically, again, it's optional, but it's kind of what it sounds like. You allow people to borrow your book for 14 days. They get to check it out, essentially. But there's really no harm to you because, hey, if they like it, they're going to tell people about it. And there's just no harm to it. So that's something for you to consider. It's optional. You may or may not have feelings about that, but that's something to consider as well. And again, optional. So we're going to talk more about specifically KDP Select. You can look into book lending. I might have some more information on that, but it's pretty straightforward. And there's no charge for it or anything like that. None of these programs cost you anything. But again, KDP Select will come with some exclusivity issues. And I shouldn't really say issues, but they have some policies that you need to follow, and you may not be able to go promote your book elsewhere and all of that. So we're going to talk about Select specifically. And then, assuming you've followed all the steps, you've gotten 2 green lights on your files, and you are ready to go, you're hitting that publish button. Woo-hoo. Now, before you do that, maybe you go double check everything's all good, right? Double, triple check. Want to make sure you selected the right categories. You have no typos in your book description. Double, triple check that. Quadruple check that. I'll let you go ahead and proofread that thing 15 times. You're not going to do that to your book, but your book description, if I'm going to look at a book and I see some typos in the description, I will probably not buy it because that means there's going to be typos in that book and I'm not going to be able to read it. So make sure you double check things. Make sure you double check. Oh, I forgot to mention, you can actually preview both your ebook and your hard copy, right? You can use the previewer and see how it's coming across, how everything's showing up on the screen and the page. So obviously you're going to want to double check that before you publish, because once you publish, you're done. You hit that button, you're having the party after that. So that's it. But again, before you hit that publish button, you can double check everything. And if you get to this point and you're like, oh, I'm not ready, I got to get the uploaded, file or the correct file from my book designer and all of that, you can hit draft, save as draft, and come back whenever you're ready. So there you go. That's the quick and dirty on how to get your book set up to be published in the KDP program. Create your little book profile, your new title, and be one step closer to hitting the publish button and being a published author. How exciting. It's right at the finish line. Okay. We know the work isn't done after that though, right? Because you got to talk about your book. You got to get out there and tell people about it. So we're going to move on, and I want to spend some time talking about your book description next. We're going to kind of spend some time talking about these different sections, book description, keywords, all of that. So please come back for some more very important information so you are prepared to make a splash in the world of publishing. All right? See you soon.